Open up your favorite code editor. I'm using brackets. You can use Atom or Sublime Text. Go to File and click New. Let's save the application. I'm gonna save the application inside C drive, XAMPP, htdocs. I will create a new folder and I will name it crude. Okay, just go inside that and give it index.html. Click save, and I'm quickly writing the HTML template for this project. Inside this body, let me create a very simple form quickly. So I will use table and this is tr for table row. Inside first column, I'm gonna use name, and for the second column I will use a input tag, input type text, and we need to use the name attribute over here and give it a unique name, and we will use that later in PHP. I'm giving student name. Close this tag, and we can also use a separator like this. It will give you a simple colon, and this is just one row. So this tr stands for one row, and inside this row there will be 3 columns, one for name, and the second one is for the colon, and the third one is for the input tag, which has a name attribute of student underscore name. Okay, so let's write the other attributes quickly. The second attribute can be gender, and here we need to use radio buttons. So for that we will use input type radio. For the name we can use gender, and for value let's give it M for male, and this part will be displayed on the form, and this value will be submitted when we click the submit button. We will develop this later. So this is for the male radio button, and this is for the name should be the same for both of these radio buttons, because ultimately either you can select one radio button at a time. So name will be the same, but value will be different. So when we select the gender radio button, this value M will be submitted, or in other words, a variable will be created which will have this name of gender and which will have the value, which will contain the value of M when we submit the form. And if we select the female radio button or the second radio button which has this value of F, then the value of F will be submitted. And once again, this is for the label, or this is this part the user sees on the website. Okay, so let's create another row, and this time let's give it about, and here I'll be using a text area. So text area, once again give it a name like about or something, whatever you like, and you need to provide the calls attribute. Calls stands for how many columns you want to span this text area, and for rows I'm using 5, let's say. For the fourth or final row, we are going to use 2 buttons, one for the submit button and another one for the reset button. So the first TD should be blank, and the second TD should span across 2 columns. So we give call span of 2, so 2 plus 1 equals to 3. This has 3 columns, so here we have 1 and 2, so 3. And inside that we will use 2 buttons, input type submit. We can give it a name, sub or submit or whatever you want, and you can use another button, input type of reset, and we can also give it a name like RES or something, but it is not mandatory for using the name attribute for submit buttons or reset buttons. So let's see the output, and we are using XAMPP, XAMPP. So make sure it's running, and you can check whether HTTP server is running or MySQL is running if we go to XAMPP control panel. So search for XAMPP control panel and make sure you have this Apache and MySQL is showing in green colors, so that means they are running, and you can stop. When it's running, you can stop this. So by default you will probably not be able to see them in green colors, so you need to manually start. So Apache server is running. This is your HTTP server, and MySQL we are using for our database. Okay, so let's see, and we have saved this file inside htdocs crude folder. So open up your favorite browser and just type localhost crude, and this is the output. So what we can change over here is we can give it a simple box like this. We can position it in the center, so let's do that. And for that we need CSS. So for this purpose we can use simple internal CSS, but we could also use external CSS, which is the preferred way for developing or writing CSS codes. But for our purposes, internal CSS is fine. We can put this table inside a form. So form, and inside form we have two methods. We can either submit the form with get method, or we can use post method. So there is a little bit difference in get and post, but let's try with post. I will explain the differences between get and post very shortly. And after method we can use action attribute, and inside this action attribute we are required to mention the file to which this form will be submitted. So give it a name like receiver.php. So this form will be submitted to receiver.php using post method. Just copy this closing form tag and paste over here. Indent properly, and inside form we can use fieldset, and legend tag like I will show you the output and then explain everything. So let's save and go to this file and refresh. So here you can see this is the field set we have created. So this basically gives you a border line, and this is the legend. So enroll, we have written enroll inside this legend tag, so that will give you this. And for field set, it's kind of a border line that wraps around our content, but it's basically by default it's taking the full width available. So we can change it using CSS, and for changing we just write the tag name and we can use the width property, and let's try with 300 pixel, and we want to show this field set in the middle, in the center of the screen. So margin should be 0 auto, and also let's give it a border radius of 3 pixel, and give a box shadow hash. Okay, fine. And let's give a margin top of 200 pixel. Save the file, refresh the page. Let's reduce the margin top to 180. Refresh the page. Okay, now better. Box shadow, I'm not able to see. There is 2 hash symbols over here, that's why probably. Let's refresh the page. Yes, here you can see the slight shadow, we can see. Alright, and what else? Border radius, let's make it 5 pixel also. So we have these fields, name and gender. Gender is radio buttons, which is mutually exclusive selection. So we can select either male radio button or female radio buttons. This is the label we have used over here. So this is the label male and this is the label for female. And here we have text area. So the first thing, here we have submit query and here we have reset. So we can quickly change this to something different or meaningful, like value, and here we can write, let's say, submit, and here also let's write reset. Let's see this button, it's changed to submit and reset. So if we write something and submit the page, the form will be submitted to receiver.php, but we have not created this file yet. So we will see this object not found error or error 404. So go back, and if we click the reset button, all the fields are clear now. Next, we will develop the PHP file called receiver.php, which will take this input data from this form after the form is submitted, and then we will insert this data in MySQL database. So let's do that in the next video. Thanks for watching.